11th of May, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Let's see. You have a citation for the Gemora over here in Chulin?
Let me take a look here where we're at.
Yeah, 135a.
It's the 11th parak in Chulin.
135A. Okay, that should be near the last volume of Chulin because there are lots of volumes.
So I think that so the Gemora here is simply quoting a line from this Mishnah in Chulin, which is looks to be quite a long Mishnah over here. Oh boy. Yeah. It's just quoting one line. Mishnah goes down halfway. It's a long Mishnah. Okay. Let's see where this is. The language that the Gemora is bringing from this Mishnah is lo hispik litnu lo. Didn't manage to give it to him ad chitzavoy until the semer got died. Putter. Now he's putter. Libnoi, tzavo, but if he'd simply cleaned it, he cleaned the wool, but he did not dye it. Chayav, he's still liable, he's still obligated. Okay, so the Mishnah.
Chulin 101, is it?
135A2.
135.
What's on A2? A1 is the beginning of the Mishnah. What's on A2?
This
It's about whitening.
135A. I don't know if I'll find it.
If the owner did not manage to give the gift to the Kohen before he dyed it, he is exempt from the mitzvah of Ish Hagiz and may keep that portion for himself. However, if he whitened the gift but did not dye it, he is obligated to give it to the Kohen.
So Rashi over here on the Mishnah, Rashi says that the reason why he's putter is because the kanya b'shinui. When he dyed this wool, he acquired it. He made a shinui in the wool through the dyeing. The havulei kamazik matnas kahuna o she'achlan. It's comparable to somebody who caused damage to the gifts to the priesthood, or he ate them. So he's not obligated to give this wool to the Kohen right now. In other words, there's a mitzvah, just like you give truma to a Kohen. So too, he's got something else that he's entitled to. and it's called Reshis Agez. It's called the first shearings of your flocks. So he's entitled to get that as a Kohen, and so that's what we're talking about over here in terms of being chayav, being obligated to give him, and being patur, and not being obligated to give him, being exempt from the obligation to give him. So since he dyed the wool now, so he's already acquired it, says Rashi. So he doesn't have to give that wool to him anymore. But in the case of in the next case, livnoi v'lo tzavoi, if he just cleaned it and he did not dye it, so then he's chayav, meaning he's obligated to give this wool to the Kohen as Reshis Agez. And Rashi explains over here, ein ze shinui bakati beinehu, even though it's been cleaned of its it doesn't look too much like it did before, but says Rashi, it's not called a shinui. It's not called you transformed this wool over here, and it's still regarded as being in the same state that it was before you did the libun. So therefore, our Gemora, we go back to our Gemora now. Let's read our Gemora over here. Libun mi have shinui. Roy, would you like to start off the reading today?
Oh, I'm looking at the Chulin. Where am I? Sorry, from?
Oh, now you have to look in the Gemora in Bava Kama.
93.
9b3, right? From what?
Left-hand side. Second paragraph.
The Gemara resolves.
The Gemara challenges. Above that.
Above that, all right. So Gemara challenges the Baraita's ruling that whitening constitutes a change that affects acquisition. We said that whitening was basically laundering, didn't we?
Yeah, it doesn't mean you dyed it white, because that would be called dyeing it.
Yeah.
And that would be and we see clearly that there's a halachic difference between dyeing it and doing libun from the Gemora in Chulin. That's very clear from the Gemora over there.
Right.
Is that the way the Art Scroll translates the word of libun?
Whitening.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're rather misleading.
Yeah. Here it is. Okay. The libun mi have shinoi, but is whitening or laundering considered a change? Or a minahi white. Contrast this with lo hasapik litno lo ad shetzavo, that if he, the owner of the wool, did not manage to give it, the first of the shearing, to the Kohen before he dyed it, but he's exempt. That's the same as a chulin, isn't it? That's the same as a chulin. And he's no longer required to give the first of it. Liboy velo sivo, if he, however, only laundered it, whitened it, but did not dye it, okay, there you are. Chayiv, he is obligated to give the first of the shearings to the Kohen. Evidently, laundering, whitening, is not considered a change that affects acquisition.
Now, just a point of information, where exactly did the Gemara say before that libun did constitute a shinui? In which case did we say that? Where did Rashi mention this? Rashi. Oh yeah, that's the way Rashi. That's what. Yeah, that was the pshat that Rashi explained in the case of begodim namte.
The what?
In
The clothes.
With Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi said that the case in the Mishnah of Tzemer, Ba'asan begodim, the Goslin stole Tzemer and he made begodim. And
Right.
Rashi and the Gemara says what exactly what type of a beged did he make? The Gemara says he made a namte. The hainu shinui de lo hadar. That's a transformation that cannot be reversed. And Rashi said, begadim namte, the ein malabdino sob hatzemer, aval hecha de libnon kanya. It's a bit confusing not so clear to me over here. What Rashi saying that begadim namte ein malabni no so hatzemer aval hecha de labnon kanya. Rashi saying that he didn't do Liban over here, but had he done so, he would have acquired. Begadim namte.
It says here that he makes them into felts. The word garments means felting. Like we have here that the whitening really means laundering. Here, garments doesn't mean clothes, it means felts, which are made by pressing raw wool until the fibers are compacted together into a firm cloth. So it's making a material, sheets of material.
I think the point of that is it's not reversible. Once you form it into this felt,
Yeah,
get it back to the wool.
yeah, you can't change it back. Does not revert.
Okay, so the case of the tzemer that he made begodim with, he made felt, and Rashi says that the felt, in order to make the felt, you don't do libun on the wool. So, but Rashi points out that had he done libun, that alone would have been a reason to be kona the tzemer. That seems to be what Rashi is learning over here. So, in other words, according to the way Rashi is explaining Rav Ashi, it seems to come out as an implication that to do an act of libun on the wool would constitute a acquisition for the Gazlan. Even though the Mishnah itself is not really talking about doing libun to the tzemer. It's talking about he got the raw wool and he just made the felt without having to clean the wool at all. So that's what's a bit confusing over here. The Rav Ashi is not really talking about doing any act of libun. So it's a bit curious. Where did the Gemora see that we were saying that libun is a kinyan? That libun makes a shinui, which would be a kinyan.
Because it says in the Brisa, but contrast this, if one stole wood and planted them, or stones and chiseled them, or pieces of wool and whitened them, or flax and cleaned it, he pays value as of the time of the robbery.
Oh, 1 second. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I thought the question was on Rav Ashi. The question is on the Brisa.
Right.
We went back to the Brisa. The Brisa says that Semer V'Libnan, he'll pay Kashas Akzela because he made a kinyan as a result of doing the libun.
Apparently, the word garment can mean clothes or it can mean felt. It doesn't mean one. It's not one or the other. It can be both, because it's got here that you can take the garment apart, but felt you can't take apart. So if he stole it and spun it, if he can pull the boards apart, if he refers to one who stole spun threads of wool and wove them into a garment, which is a change that can revert to its original form, for if he so desires, he can take the garment apart. And this is so that's reversible.
Right.
But whitening is irreversible. Laundering affects acquisition. And certainly a biblical recognized change, such as whitening, which is irreversible, affects acquisition.
Right.
It's a bit confusing what's meant by what at any particular time.
All right.
It seems to be a challenge. That's the whole point. You've got two different opinions, whether whitening does or doesn't affect the change. But the Bryce that you just said that does make a change. And then this thing from the Shira Sagay saying it's not, because it needs whitening and dyeing to make it shit to be considered a change. Whitening is not enough.
Let's see, who's the other be outside? Yes, call name, and this name with me at small. Okay. we have here from the Mishnah in Chulin, it seems as though that the Libun does not make a shinui.
Are you frozen, Rabbi? We
Yeah,
lost-
he's frozen.
Yep.
To the Kohen, because he didn't acquire it through Libun. So you see that from this Mishnah, Libun does not constitute a shinui, which would be kona for the one who did the shinui.
Rabbi, you froze. We missed part of what you just said.
Oh, okay. So the Ramini over here is that we see from the Mishnah in Chulin that Libun is not a shinui.
Is ringing.
Libun's not a shinui, and so that contradicts what we said in the Brisa about the Tzemer B'Libnon, that the Goslin does pay Kishas Agzela.
Right.
Okay, so right. Okay, fine. Okay, so now let's do we have a Rashi over here? We're going to read the Rashi. Lo hispik litno.
Lo hispik litno. Okay, that he didn't give it to him. He wasn't able to give it to him. The ratio to gaze. He wasn't able to give the rashis, the gaze, the first of the gaze, to the Kohen. Ad shitsavo, only until after he dyed it.
Right. Okay, next Rashi. Want to continue, Phil? Putter?
What the next? Who would he be? Putter. Okay.
Yeah.
Putter. The kinya bishinui, because he can wise it with a change. The damim namin, its value also low mishalei. He doesn't pay. The lav gaze Gemora, gezel Gemora, because it's not completed a complete theft yet. Who the low mata lidei, it didn't go to his hands yet. It wasn't turned over to the Kohen yet.
Oh, so Rashi's explaining not only does he not have to give the dyed wool, but he also doesn't have to pay to reimburse the Kohen for not giving him the matana. Because why? Because it doesn't constitute gezel, because it never reached the hand of the Kohen. And since it didn't reach the hand of the Kohen, just falls into the category of something that he had a mitzvah to give to the Kohen. I would have thought that Rashi would have said like we said the other day, that in any case the Yisrael could say, "Oh, I wasn't planning to give it to you, Mr. Cohen. I was planning to give it to your neighbor across the door across the street who's also a Cohen. No Cohen has a guarantee, has a obligation that you have to give it to him. That's the choice of the Yisrael, to give it to the Cohen of his choice. So I would have thought that that's why it didn't constitute Gezel, that he would have to reimburse the Cohen for it. But I guess Rashi's talking about a case where maybe he I don't know. Not sure why Rashi has to say what he's saying over here. Okay, at any rate, so that's the kasha that we have. And now let's go to Amar Abaye with the Abaye is going to answer the contradiction between the Mishnah in Chulin and the Brisa about the Gazlan. Is Libun a shinui or not? So we go to Alan to read for us Amar Abaye.
Oh, I don't have that. I only have Bava Kama right now.
Oh, okay. So, Roy, you want to read?
Roy, you're muted.
There you are. You can hear my sweet voice now.
Yes, beautiful.
Omar Abaya said, Lo kashya. It's not a contradiction. Oh, Rabbi Shimon, this brisa regarding the robbery, which states that whitening constitutes a change, follows Rabbi Shimon. Rabbanon, whereas this Mishnah regarding the first of the shearings, which states that whitening does not constitute a change, follows the rabbis. The Gemara now demonstrates where we find that Rabbi Shimon and the rabbis dispute the matter. The Tanya, for it was taught in a Baraisa concerning the first of the shearings, Gozo, Tavoi, Va'argo. If he sheared the wool and then spun it or wove it, and mitzvah, it does not combine with any successive wool that he shears. Liverno, but if he only whitened it, Rabbi Shimon Omer, and mitzvah, it does not combine, says Rabbi Shimon. V'chachomim amarim, but the sages say mitzvah, it does combine. And then there's an alternative resolution between the Brisa and the Mishnah. Next.
Okay, so before we go to the alternative resolution, maybe let's try to understand the first resolution over here. What is going on over here with this mitzvah? So there's a long Rashi over here that we'll try to go through at this time, Bez Hashem. Who would like to read this long Rashi? We want to take turns.
Do you want it, Lou, or not?
Yeah, if I can find it. What's the Dibur Maskil?
Ein
Ein
mitzvah.
mitzvah.
They don't combine. Ein mitzvah.
Ein mitzvah. Let's see.
It's the second line in, the second word in. First word in the line is Lidei to you.
What was the first word again?
So Lidei is yours. If you could see the putter, it's 2 lines below the putter. The put is on the margin. The 2 lines lower, it says a mitzvah. It's close to note number 22. Across from it.
Got it. Ein mitzteref. They don't combine. Disnan b'shachitat
Shitas Hulin.
hulin. We learned that in hulin
Yes.
chamesh rachlos gozazos kol achas. All right, so let's try and translate that. 5. What's rachalos?
Rechelos. Those are the
You.
sheep.
The female sheep.
Female sheep.
You're both talking at the same time. What's it, Rabbi?
This is the sheeps that you're doing the shearing from. They're called rechelos.
5 sheep that are shorn together. Kol achas is together.
Each one
Yeah.
of them.
Each one mina ufras chiyuvos. What is mina?
Mana is a certain amount of wool that was shorn from the animal.
Okay, so a mana of wool is shorn. His obligation bereshis hagaz, his obligation for the beginning of the
No, Reishi the guys means like shearing the wool. That's what it's called.
his obligation for the shearing of the wool, bereshis hagaz, and the first of the shearings, mahu gozo rachal. What is it that he that he shears from the sheep?
Oh, what goes? Horatius against Mahu gozes. What does he? Yeah, what does he shear? What does he? What?
Rachal la'achar,
Well, no.
another sheep.
She goes so.
Shegozah no pain mean hagiza. That which he shears, he gives from the shearings. The Kohen, to the Kohen. See ma rishza.
Sharitza.
Sharitza. What's that?
Yirtze. Lefima sheyirtze.
Oh, that for according to that which he wants, ubilvad, and only shetehei natina. What's natina?
A giving.
But only in that which he gives. Chashuva ukatani deim gazu achas. And we learned that if he shares one of them, what's that? Vitzava'a?
Buys it.
What?
Dyeing the wool is 7, putting color to it.
Is it? V'chein shenei v'chein
Shnia.
Second.
v'chein shalishis, and also for 2 and also for 3, ein mitztar fus. It doesn't combine lamana with the mana, with the original quantity. Ufras lehis chayav kin nehu v'shinui. What is ufras?
That's the a process is a portion. That's the shear is the whole shear is a mana upras. A mana's worth, like a full portion and a portion of a portion. That's the shear. That's the shear that gives the obligation to give that shear to the Kohen for the mitzvah of Reishis Hagez.
Okay, so he, it doesn't combine with the mana and the pras for the obligation that he acquires through a change.
Right. The mitzaref means to join together. What are we joining together? We're trying to join together the amount of shearings from the first animal, the second animal, and third animal, in order to get a shear of a mana and a pras, which that shear of mana of a pras would be a shear which it would be chayav to give to the Kohen. And we're saying that in the event that he does the shearing, and then he does some type of a dyeing of the wool, so that amount that he sheared, that he dyed, will not join together with the other amount of wool to make a shear to be chayav to give to the Kohen, because once he dyes it, he acquires it.
Right.
He doesn't have to give that part.
Okay, it's time now. Let it go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Good. Yasher koyach, everyone.
Baruch Tiyeh.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bless Hashem.
We can't hear you. You're muted, but I assume you're saying goodbye.